Hey, what's up guys, it's me your boy Auraban Castic giving H back here with another brand new video and I hope you guys are having a great day. So we are here for the Singapore Grand Prix race review. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video guys. Well, first of all, wow, what a race we had. Honestly, did not expect for the 2023 season to have this kind of an contrasting halves. First half full of domination with somewhat sedate race in terms of entertainment value, and for the most parts we just had to make up our minds thinking that though there is not a fight for the race win or for the championship, at least the midfield is tighter than it ever was, giving us some great battles. But the second half of the season, oh my goodness, I mean, the first three races at the second half of the season, they have been nothing but great. Close battles for pole positions, for race lead, for the race win. I mean, unpredictable conditions, etc. The 2023 season's second half has just been delivering one race after another. I mean, what a race the Singapore Grand Prix was. First of all, GG's to Carlos Sainz for converting his pole to a race win. A very smart, well executed, tactful race from him, maintaining a pace to the driver behind, pushed exactly when needed, saved the tires for the battle that came towards the end. The race was honestly a bit up and down. I mean, it started off pretty strong, but midway through the race, it just started to settle down, and I just thought, well, it's gonna be another boring race from here on. But the VSC that caused by Esteban Ocon pretty much reignited the race, with both the Mercs double stacking for a fresh set of medium tires, closing up to the leading trio of Sainz, Norris and Leclerc. It was exciting to see which strategy would pay off. I mean, I still think that Mercs did the right thing to box both their cars for fresh mediums. Honestly, that was the only way they could have taken the race win today. With Ferrari, I am a bit split with my opinion. I think they did the right thing with Carlos by making him stay out, as I think Mercs would have anyways done the opposite of what Ferrari would do with Carlos. But I feel like considering Leclerc was behind Hamilton, I feel like they could have done something with him that could have slowed down the progress of the Mercs. But considering Ferrari didn't have any fresh mediums, I think they went with what was the safer strategy, as I feel like the softs would not have survived to the end. The final closing laps were just some of the most tactful, smart and hard racing from Sainz, Norris, Russell and Hamilton, with Sainz effectively giving DRS to Lando to give Lando a better chance to defend himself against the Mercs that were on a softer, newer tires, with Russell and Hamilton pushing Norris to see if he'd make a mistake. I mean, what a race we just had. Finally, on the last lap, George hitting the wall, DNFing from the race was a bit cutting to watch considering all his hard work up until that point. But that's racing. I mean, I think George followed Lando's line into that corner blindly, because Lando too brushed the same wall but got away with it, as it was just a light brush, where George's was a proper whack on the wall. Sainz post summer break seems to be on another level. The smartness with which he approaches the race is just absolutely fascinating to watch, and I hope this run of form continues for Sainz. Lando picks up another amazing season best result of P2 at Singapore, a brilliant result for him and for the team. Clean race like Sainz stayed out of trouble, stern defense against the Mercs and brought home a brilliant result. Hamilton picks up the pieces by finishing P3 after his teammate DNF'd from the race at the last lap. I mean, on the last final leg of the race on the medium compound, it seemed like Hamilton with his years of experience had closed the gap to Norris and Sainz with a perfect balance of tyre management and consistent pace, where his teammate Russell seemed to have gone through his tyres towards the end, as when he got to the place to mount a challenge for the race win or for the race lead, George's car was all over the place and slower compared to his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who seemed to be faster than George at that point. Charles finished the race P4. A good effort, a bit gutted for him honestly, obviously because he was running a comfortable P2 in his first stint on the soft compound, But during the double stack onto the hard compound, he got jumped in the pit by Lando, getting dropped down the order. But still, considering he qualified P3 and finished not too far behind but in P4, is a bit relieving. Max Verstappen, well, honestly, a brilliant recovery from him. Starting P11, finished the race P5, and given another lap, he probably would have gotten Charles as well. So a valiant effort from the Dutchman. 30 laps on the hard compound was not easy, especially during the safety car restart, where he got mugged by all the faster drivers on the newer tires. Quickly dropped from P2 to P6, from where he had a pretty lonely race till his pit stop onto the mediums. I mean, part of the credit also has to go to his teammate Sergio Perez, who not had too much of a clean weekend himself. The Mexican, not sure if he'd be proud to call this as his 250th Grand Prix. Too many incidents. I mean, the unfair overtake on Albon, on Yuki. But nonetheless, he still finished P8 after the race. Even after the 5-second penalty that he got for his overtake on Albon, that basically put Albon out of points. I mean, if Checo had made that move cleanly on Alex would not have lost more positions to Magnussen and Joe. So in the occurrence of where Russell got DNF'd on the final lap, it should have put Alex back in the points, back up in P10, I feel like. So the 5-second penalty just feels like, what a joke! The 5 seconds! What a joke! Well, coming back to what Sergio Perez did good in the race. I mean, his defense against Ocon and Alonso after the safety car restart helped Max manage his hard compound tire a bit, as there was about 7-second gap between him and Checo. That helped him in pitting and coming out ahead of a lot of the drivers who otherwise he would have had to fought for positions for. So that defensive drive from Checo with that car, especially with a broken front wing, was the only good part of his race here at Singapore. Gasly, after starting P12, finished the race P6. A silent drive from him, but did really well to score some decent points for his team. It seems like the Alpines have better pace on the race trim than what they do under one lap. Oscar Piastri also had a pretty patient and a quiet race to finish P7 after starting P17, kept himself out of trouble and maximized on his result. A great drive from him. Considering it's around Singapore on his first time around the track, it's a fantastic result. Liam Lawson finishes the race P9, collects his first couple of points in F1, and that too around Singapore. He has to be pretty proud and happy about it, considering he did all of that in that AlphaTauri. What was most shocking to me was the fact that he was pretty apologetic on the team radio post-race, saying that he missed out on a couple more points. That shows his drive, hunger and expectations that he has on himself and on the team. That is a championship mentality, guys. So I really hope he gets a drive next year. If not in AlphaTauri, I really hope that Red Bull loans him to another team, as it would be pretty depressing to see a deserving talent like him be out of the sport, especially after what he showcased. I loved the fact that he made it harder for Max Verstappen to overtake him. He did not make it any easier for Max. So rounding off the top 10 is Kevin Magnussen, who scores a point for Haas. Honestly, the tires did pretty well. I expected both the Haas to finish somewhere between P12 to P16. Though Hülkenberg did finish the race P13, it was still great to see Haas score a point. Finishing just in the cusp of points is Alex Albon after starting P14, a mega drive from him. He seemed to have more pace on the race than in the quali, so props to him again. Should have gotten a point, like I said, but whatever, can't change anything now. So yes. Moving on to Zhou Guanyu, who finished the race P12, a good effort from him after starting P19. Hülkenberg, on the other hand, after starting P9, finished the race P13. A rocky weekend for him. The first time I've seen Nico really struggle despite the car having pace. So now moving on to Logan Sargent. Well, Logan Sargent also had a pretty rocky weekend again. After starting P18, he finished race P14, overtaking Alonso in the penultimate corner on the last lap, or more like Alonso given up the position to him. Not a good drive from him, considering how the other two rookies managed to keep their nose clean and made a genuine progress up the field. Logan failed to do so despite the car having pace that was showcased by Albon. Yet another rocky and a disappointing weekend from Logan Sargent. Moving on to the last driver to cross the finish line, and probably one of the first and a very rare times, it's Fernando Alonso who crosses the finish line last. Well, it was not his weekend, that's all I gotta say. It seemed like the car had a problem and he didn't seem all too happy with the car. Too many lockups, one of which causing for him to get a 5-second penalty after locking up, crossing the curb on his way into the pit lane, re-entering the pit lane unsafely, having a slower pit stop while he was also serving his 5-second penalty under the VSC of Esteban Ocon. Yeah, all in all, a weekend for Fernando to forget. 4 drivers retiring from the race, with Lance Stroll withdrawing from the race due to his crash yesterday. George with that tap on the wall, retiring on the last lap. Valtteri Bottas retiring due to a technical failure. Esteban Ocon retiring due to a gearbox failure. And Yuki Tsunoda out due to his collision with Sergio Perez on lap 1. So what a race. Again, for one last time to sum up this race review, what a race. I would rate this Grand Prix a solid 8 out of 10. It was great at the beginning and also towards the end, but on the middle is where it was just a bit too dull. So for that, I think 8 out of 10 is a very good score. Second half of the 2023 season has spoiled us with 3 back-to-back entertaining races, and we are going to Japan next, Suzuka, a track that usually delivers a good race, so highly expecting the Japanese Grand Prix next. To quickly summarize this race, I would say, it was a very good Grand Prix. The TV direction again could have been a bit better. The entire pack was very close, unlike all the other previous Grand Prix in which Max or the top 2 or the top 3 who are just driving or having a race of their own, whilst others are battling for positions. Though looking at the race pace of the RB19 towards the end here at Singapore, I'm sure that heading into the Japanese Grand Prix, a track in which they're usually pretty good at, I expect for them to make a strong comeback and probably would dominate yet again. So with that being said, I would like to wrap up this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and let me know in the comments on what you thought about the Singapore Grand Prix. I'm excited to know. And hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to the Autobahncast YouTube channel if you haven't already. Also hit that bell icon and turn on all notifications so you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. It's me, your boy Autobahncast, aka Vinesh, and I'm out. Love you guys, stay safe, peace.